So I've had another day on the road today to go to a football match, but the difference is it's not a World Cup game. Football still continues in the US. The MLS stops, but the USL Championship, the USL League One, the leagues below that tier, sort of new developing leagues, they are continuing. The games will continue while the World Cup, I guess, goes on around them, although I suppose a lot of the teams are based in cities where there are no games. And that's what's brought me here to South Texas. I had a bus journey down to Corpus Christi, pretty much on the way to Mexico. The bus I was on was continuing, and we're down to this, again, a gorgeous part of the world next to, down by the marina here. Corpus Christi Bay sort of feeds into the Gulf of Mexico. I know the people have been trying to rename that. But the reason I've come to a game here is because Eamon Zayed is the coach, the manager, sporting director, a lot of different roles, I guess, with Corpus Christi FC, who are a new club in this division. And he's got Irish players in his ranks too. They've got James Talbot and they've got Jack Keeney. And yeah, the profile of their league is crazy. As I said, they're playing home to a team from California in what is effectively a high school stadium at the moment, because there's work underway to build a proper new stadium for themselves. And yeah, I suppose I came here to chat to Eamon, who, I mean, I think he's topical in a number of ways. Before there was Pico Lopes, he was an Irishman playing international football from another country with Libya. He's had his relationship with Iran as well. He's very successful out there. So I just thought it'd be nice to come down here to see him, to see what his football life is like, to chat to him about that, and probably get his overall feelings on the World Cup in America. And I suppose the opportunities for people with his profile who have come to America and made their home here. Eamon Zayed, I think being good at football has allowed you to travel the world, to see interesting places. You've a lot of people will know you as a League of Ireland player, but you've also had spells in Scandinavia, a very famous spell in Iran, which we might discuss in a minute. But you spent the last 10 years of your life in the US. I was surprised. I knew you were over here, I'll be honest. I knew you were working over here.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were gone that long, and you've lived in 5 different places. So I don't know, maybe almost tell us a bit about what you're doing at the moment and what your journey to getting here within America.
Yeah. No, sometimes it doesn't feel like I've been here for that long. Time flies. But yeah, 10 years, came over obviously as a player in 2016. Thinking I'd be here for a year and then go back home. But here I am 10 years later. Finished up playing, went into coaching as a player coach in 2019 to 2020. Then went into, got my first opportunity as a head coach of Northern Colorado Hellstorm. I was there for 3 to 4 years until they left the league, the USL, and now I am head coach and sporting director of a brand new franchise here in Corpus Christi called Corpus Christi FC.
Yeah, it's a first year club, and yeah. People will see shots at a stadium. I know there are plans to develop a stadium here. You've got James Talbot here and Jack Keeney, so there's an Irish presence. And I know that there are players who have dropped into this USL or your USL League One. And I think it's a sort of a source of interest to people at home because there's no promotion or relegation. Clubs seem to come and go a little bit.
Yeah,
it seems like a sort of a league it's finding its way. Is that the way you describe it?
Yeah, it started in 2019 as a very much a developmental league. It gave players, a lot of young players, their first opportunity into professional soccer. Players that were coming out of college or just talented younger players. At that time, there was MLS reserve teams in the league. That has since changed into a more fully functional independent league. There are no MLS reserve teams, just fully functional independent teams. With that, the average age has gone up slightly. I think, I don't know what it used to be when I first came in, but now 25, 26 is the average age. I still think the league is trying to find its way because it is still definitely a league, developmental league that does give youngsters opportunities to put their feet into professional soccer and grow and make a name for themselves and then maybe take a leap to the next level. And then you have lads that have, like you mentioned, the Jack Keeney, James Talbot, that are coming over for numerous reasons. The opportunity to play in the States, a different environment. So it's definitely a league that I do feel like it's still probably finding its foot in terms of what are we. That might change then when promotion relegation comes in, and it will be a league that owners will come in and franchises will come in and desperately try to get promoted and climb the ladder. I think It's funny. Wrexham and Ryan Reynolds have been mentioned a lot in terms of just what they've brought and the eyes that they've brought on to their promotion from what they've done in England, and I think that's kind of gained interest and traction over here in the States.
Yeah, I mean, look, at lifestyle is a thing. There's a gorgeous sort of, we're talking about the Gulf of Mexico, or wherever you want to describe this area. We're in South Texas here. Yeah. But I mean, it's gorgeous weather, and there is travel within it. Like, some of your league games are in New York and various places. You can see the appeal, right? Yeah. I mean, like I've met some people here who are making a nice life for themselves in the States. And while it seems like there's challenges within it, some of the attractions are pretty much plain to see as you walk around the place.
And I think initially that's my selling point whenever I speak to lads back home. That is the selling point. It's to come over and experience a lifestyle. If I'm being honest, I first came over for a change of life, change of scenery, lifestyle. Fell in love with just on every aspect of living over here and seeing new parts of the States. And yeah, it is an attraction. That is one of the main reasons why players come over here. And then they do genuinely, I'm not going to say fall in love, but they enjoy the soccer side of it. Traveling to different cities, different fan bases, facilities, different stadiums. I think they do enjoy that part of it. And soccer's growing here massively, and it is a good competitive standard. And I think people get surprised by the standard of soccer over here.
Yeah, I know you're still in touch with home and things are happening. And we were talking about Pico Lopes, which is a big story of the World Cup. And I feel like you can speak with sort of some kind of authority on this, because as someone who played underage for Ireland, who then represented Libya at international level, you could have played for Tunisia. I feel like you must relate with his story in some way, although obviously what he's doing now is an extraordinary thing.
No, I do. Delighted for him, and it's fascinating to see his journey and where he is right now. Obviously, never got to a World Cup in Libya, but it's funny. Obviously, the story last week that broke in terms of how we got to playing for the Cape Verde national team the year, whether it was a message on LinkedIn and the Portuguese translation to English. It was just reminding me of my story. The Libyan national team had got in touch with me, and it was maybe 6 months before I actually I got the official invitation. They reached out through my uncle, who then reached out through my dad, who then reached out to me. I think I was 26, 27 at the time. Wasn't sure if it was for me or not, and once I made the journey over there for the first international camp, it was one of the best things I ever did and experienced. As I said, I have a lot of family over there, and my grandparents are from Libya. Born and bred in Ireland, but no, loved it. International football, loved it. Loved playing for Libya. And as I said, the closest we ever got to a World Cup was play Cameroon in a game that winners went to the World Cup. Samuel Eto'o and all, Alexander Song. They had a really strong team, Cameroon. We ended up losing 1-0, but that was the closest I got to in terms of a World Cup journey. But delighted to see Pico Lopes do well. It's fantastic for the league, and it's mad. You see him he's not just at a World Cup. He's playing really well at a World Cup. And you're looking at some of the players that he's playing against, what they're worth, how much money they're making, thinking, well, maybe there's a big move in it for him.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Has it come too late for you? Kind of have that little,
I know.
Thing. But he's playing here in Houston on Friday. But I suppose the other game, on Friday as well, you have Iran playing, and it's a huge story, this World Cup. I know you're not from Iran, but people may see you still have this fanatical following from your time there, like over 600,000, I think, Instagram followers. I was looking there, and every post you put up, there's like still getting the love from the Iranian fans for that hat-trick you scored.
Yeah.
I suppose it's a strange time, right? Because Iran are a big story in this World Cup, and I'm very conscious that, again, you're not from the country, so this is not like, you're not speaking with that maybe viewpoint of someone who's from there. But I guess you get a sense, they're on a massive journey in this World Cup, and I'm sure you're acutely aware of that story and what it represents for everyone there.
I am. And look, there's still a few people within the camp I'd speak to. Their centre back is a player that I played with during my time in Iran. Look, there's obviously the things that are going on off the pitch in Iran, which has divided the country in terms of people in support of the regime and people that want change. In terms of the actual the team and competing here at the World Cup, it's been really tough for them. I know I spoke to somebody recently in the camp, and they were saying that in one way it's galvanised the team. They have to obviously travel in to the States. I think they have a 24-hour period where they can come in and then have to leave the States, which is difficult for any team. And as a coach, trying to prepare your team, you want to do it right. You want to get in and expose yourself to the environment. They haven't had the chance to do that. So that's been really, really tough for the Iranian team here. At the same time, it's definitely galvanised them. Almost like it's us against everybody else. And I think you've seen that in the performances. They've played together as a team. They fought for everything, gotten 2 decent results. But within the country right now, look, unfortunately, it's divided. You support the regime or you want change, which is sad to see, because I've had a great time in Iran, lovely people. I only have good things to say about the country.
What's the future for you then? Like, we talked to, as I said, I was chatting to Kevin Grogan earlier this week. I know you bumped into him recently, former Bray Wanderers teammates. And again, like, he's had a journey in football in America, and he's found a place for him. Are you kind of open-minded to what the future sort of may hold for you? Will we ever see you back in Ireland? Like, what are you thinking?
Listen, anybody that knows anything about my journey, I've always been open-minded about going to for different opportunities that may or may not come my way. Listen, Kevin's been brilliant. Delighted for Kevin Grogan. I'll see him again in New York. We're around there, World Cup final. We play there, so I'll see him again and have a pint with him. But look, my journey, I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing. I love being a head coach, sporting director, building a brand new franchise, a culture, philosophy within the team and the club. So look, I'm trying to obviously make a presence here in Corpus Christi, but always open to opportunities that come my way. Watch the League of Ireland fanatically on a Friday evening. That's what I do. Afternoon, actually, in our time. Always have a game on. So look, if an opportunity comes back home, I'm open to it. If it's in Iran, if it's in Libya, I'm open to it. For now, enjoying my time in the States, loving the coaching side of it. And just trying to go as far as I can in the game.
And enjoying the World Cup. Sorry, I mean, fun to bring us back to the point of this.
Absolutely loving the World Cup. It's funny. I don't know who it was there recently I saw online. It was Tom Brady saying, "Is this the best World Cup ever?" Of course, he's going to say he's American. I had my doubts in terms of what it was going to be like, given just the world as is. I think it's been brilliant. Obviously, in Texas, there's a lot of games in Dallas and Houston. I think it's been brilliant so far. Minus the hydration breaks. I think it's been brilliant. I've enjoyed it. And I've really enjoyed the lesser known teams. Your Cape Verdes, your Curaçaos. They got there by merit, by the way. They didn't it wasn't a token gesture. They got there by merit. But delighted to see them not just play, compete and do well. So, no, I've loved it. Not sure if I'll say best World Cup ever yet. Potentially, with the likes of Messi doing what he's doing, Ronaldo scoring 2 goals. Maybe it'll be one for the ages, we'll see.
Yeah, okay. Listen, I know you're a busy man, but great to catch up, Eamon.
Top man. Cheers.
All right. So, finished 0-0 here tonight between Corpus and their visitors from California. A testy affair. Probably more interesting than the result sounds, and I'll be honest, probably still better than watching Czechia play at the Azteca or watching anything from Group A. Look, it's a small crowd here. This stadium is a good bit outside of the city. Mexico playing tonight, as I mentioned. So there are plans like to develop this club, but it's hard to know. Like, this is a strange level. You're sort of watching the game. Some good players involved. The surface, the pitch, the sort of the American football sort of backdrop isn't the most aesthetically pleasing. But for me, I suppose we talk about the universality of the World Cup. Coming to events like this reminds me of the universality of football. You got players from different parts of the world. James Talbot keeping a clean sheet, Jack Keeney in front of him, just making a living in the game. And I suppose in America there's a lot of different things going on beneath the surface in football, beneath the World Cup. But I'll be stepping back out of this scene in towards the World Cup matters again. And of course, Pico Lopes and his Cape Verde team are down the road in Houston on Friday.